Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to another episode of जवानों को पीरों का उस्ताद कर at Soulfully Yours. We have Ahmed Khan with us, and we have come up with another topic, that is self-esteem, pride versus arrogance. In our last discussion, we came up with interesting concepts and the importance of both instant and delayed gratification, and we learned that both of them are equally important for us to achieve our goals. A absence of any of the two would imbalance, would create an imbalance. Today, we have another topic about balance, and for that, we will explore self esteem. What is self esteem? So, in order to know what is self esteem, we are going to put forward this question to Ahmed Khan. Ahmed, can you tell me what do you understand about self esteem? What is it?
So, self esteem is the person's overview of themselves, a
Mm-hmm.
complete overview and opinion of theirs about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are two types of self esteem. One, there's a low self esteem or a negative self esteem, and the other is a healthy self esteem. There's You shouldn't have a high self esteem
So,
because
Ahmed, you mentioned about one's own opinion about the self is a self-esteem. So, what kind of opinions?
opinions about your abilities, your talents, and what value your ideas and your opinions hold to yourself.
Okay, okay. So, and you're saying that there are two kinds of self-esteem, wherein when there is this low self-esteem. So, what is low self-esteem?
So, low self esteem is when you think lowly about yourself and your abilities and your talents. So, when you think when you keep a low value for these things, you have a very low self esteem because you think that others are more capable than you are, and you think others are better than you. That is low self
So,
esteem.
can you give any example of having low self-esteem?
So, for example, you completed a test in school
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't got the results back,
Mm-hmm.
but you think that the person sitting next to you is going to get a higher mark than you
Mm-hmm.
because you think that your abilities are low and you think the other person is better than you. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking to them, you're gonna like get belittled by them, and that's an example of low self-esteem wherein you think of yourself that you're going to get a lower uh,
Mm-hmm.
grade or score than the other guy.
So, what I'm understanding is the perception that you have created about yourself is not the true identification of you or true facts about you. It is something that you are not, and you just undermine your abilities. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's correct. That's the case when you have a low self-esteem where you a lot of your thoughts about yourself are influenced from your
Mhm.
surroundings.
So tell me, Emma, what causes low self-esteem? What are the factors?
So the factors that cause a low self-esteem are basically quite simple. In the past, where you have encountered bullying or negative ways that people have treated you, uh, when you have received negative treatment from other people and have been bullied constantly, uh, your self-esteem is pushed down, and
Mhm.
it goes very down drastically.
Mhm. So it means the more you encounter negativity in your life, or the more you encounter negative remarks, that will cripple your self-esteem.
Yes.
Okay, and can you give any example, like for teenagers or for children, or for adults who are watching our show, that we how in everyday lives people interact in a way where your self-esteem gets lost or
Um,
it's low. How? Think of it just randomly in school or at playground, at work, or how can someone have a low perception about his or herself? What will make it? As you mentioned about negativity, what kind? Just give an example.
so in school
Mm-hmm.
or anywhere else in work, when loads of people are doing something, and you're the only person, or you're one of the few people who are not doing that, uh, sometimes people, the group of people who are doing that, they bully you. Uh, for example, at lunchtime, there's a gigantic group of people that are buying lunch or getting lunch from the canteen, but you bring lunch from home and
Mm-hmm.
you eat that. So sometimes people react negatively on this, and they try to lower your self-esteem by saying, "Why aren't you
Mm-hmm.
buying from the canteen like the rest of us?"
Mm-hmm.
So, or
Mm-hmm.
doing this or going to that place or doing that stuff like the
Mm-hmm.
rest of us.
So what I'm understanding is most of the thinking lowly about yourself comes from the outside influence,
Yeah,
and that is that you start taking in and you start believing in it as facts, which is not the reality, and just let it sink in so much so that it becomes a part of you, or it lowers your self-worth. Is that so?
yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. So, but sometimes, like for example, in certain cultures, especially in our culture, wherein when you talk high about yourself, or you just, if you mention about your accomplishments or stuff, people may also try to cripple you down by saying, do not, uh, this person talks a lot about himself, or is pride and arrogance the same thing?
No, definitely. Pride and arrogance is not the same thing. However, arrogance
Uh-huh.
is the continuation and over exaggeration of pride. So let me talk about pride first.
Mm-hmm.
Pride is how, like, the satisfaction and the pleasure that you get from knowing your abilities and your achievements. So when you're proud of yourself, it's often about an achievement that you did or something that you accomplished, which gives you that feeling of satisfaction and pleasure. So that's what pride is. And sometimes in our culture, and some other cultures as well, uh, people refrain from expressing their pride uh, in public, because others
Mm-hmm.
take that to the extreme and think of it as arrogance, and they're hated for telling their accomplishments, not boasting, but telling their
Mm-hmm.
accomplishments very simply.
So, what is that balance that can be achieved wherein you are not boastful and wherein you are not going into that uh, lower self esteem as you talked about? How can we create that balance?
So to do that, you have to stay in the middle. You have to stay in the middle of pride and arrogance, and you have to be emotionally intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to realize and interpret what the other person might be thinking after you're telling them this. But it's important to be emotionally intelligent and have a good understanding of what you're saying and what the other person might be thinking from their reactions. And uh, yeah.
That's a wonderful thing that you talked about emotional intelligence, because then when whatever we say, I think the situation, the context, the people, it all matters, because if you are boasting, you it the energy that is carried, it is felt by the other person. And let's say If you what first tell me, how can we boast? What things we often boast?
So you can boast by like putting an extra effort and taking that extra mile to telling someone about your achievements that you did. So let's just say you
Let's say, for example, I achieved something and I got a very nice gift, or let's say, as a gift, I got a wonderful scooty, let's say, and I'm proud of myself and I want to share my happiness with people, right? So what is a healthy way of sharing it, wherein I am not boasting about my accomplishments and I want to share my happiness, but I don't want to sound arrogant, yet happy. And
so you can tell them about it and sometimes involve them with what you got. So in a way you're sharing the happiness with them as well, so they don't feel left out and think that you're just talking about yourself only. So if you keep on repetitively saying that, oh my god, this is so fun, uh, फलाना फलाना, जैसे लोग कहते हैं कि ये मेरे पास बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है और ये बहुत अच्छा काम करती है, ये बहुत अच्छा है, ये तुमसे अच्छा है, ऐसे करके, like how people say, refrain and stop yourself from saying this stuff because it will hurt the other person, and it's going to create a negative energy, a negative vibe.
wonderful. In fact, ये बहुत अच्छी बात है कि we need to understand the context and the back situation that we are talking about, and especially when there is a disparity and there is a difference, we need to understand that is our pride would our pride make the other person feel lesser about him or herself, because at the end of the day we all want to feel good. So if we are trying to talk about ourselves wherein the other person lacks that, it might create a feeling of low self-worth or something missing in that person. So it is it is advisable not to then not to take it to a point where it becomes boasting and for him to feel that there is something missing in him or her, while in the the balance is that you should not put this situation or this context in all other situations wherein you have the uh, getting my point, you want to express and share your happiness, but you are refraining wherein in a situation where the other person won't be insecure of your achievements, right, and he would be happy to celebrate.
Sometimes the intention is right behind telling someone. So as you mentioned earlier, when uh, you can feel that they're gonna have their self-esteem is gonna get lower down because of your accomplishments, and maybe they won't be able to accomplish that, or maybe they get bullied for not accomplishing that. So even though your intention is just to share the happiness and share what you're feeling, you have to be emotionally intelligent to realize if you should share it with that person to an extent, or you should not. You should refrain from doing that, as I mentioned.
Awesome.
And in places where you know that person and you've seen that person, he has a capability of doing the same and has already done the same in the past. You should express it, because if he's done it, most probably they will also want to express it. And if they do, and if they take the credit for it, for what they've achieved, then you should do it as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so tell me, what is the importance of taking pride?
So pride is the baseline and the foundation to a lot of people's self-worth to themselves. So pride is very important because it provides a sense of satisfaction and a
How does
satisfaction and pleasure to themselves because they've achieved something great that they want. Without pride, even a thing that's very high and they've achieved, for them, for themselves, they think that is a very high objective that they achieved, and they're very happy about it. But others, they let it down and they shrug it off. That it sometimes lowers the self-esteem. So that's why pride is important, so you can increase your self-esteem.
Ah, wonderful. So that you can increase your self esteem to feel good about yourself. And while at the same time, you can inspire others by feeling good about yourself of what you have accomplished and taking pride in it. You can pave the way for others to do the same and accomplish their dreams as well. Isn't
Yeah,
that so?
yeah, but
Because if you're not feeling good inside, no matter how much you have, uh, how much you are capable of, or how much you have achieved, or how much mountains you have moved, but if you are not feeling good about yourself and you are just belittling yourself with all the inner critic or the chatter going inside, that would not, if you are not feeling good yourself, you would not create a vibe wherein people would consider you as worthy, if you are not considering yourself worthy. Isn't that so?
yeah, so self-belief is also a very important part of your self-esteem and pride and everything. So first you have to believe in yourself and
Mhm.
know that you've accomplished these things and know that you can do this, and then you can start to inspire other people with the skills that you know, or the skills that like you have accomplished or done.
Mhm. Okay, so here we are clear about you should have a healthy self esteem, why healthy self esteem is important, and why pride is an essential part of boosting your self confidence and your self esteem, both for yourself and for others. Going back to the other end of the spectrum, which is arrogance, what do you think causes this particular emotion of arrogance?
So arrogance, actually, it's weird, but it has similar causes. I mean, similar factors that cause it as low self-esteem.
Mhm.
So there, if you have the cause of low self-esteem, as I mentioned, was if you get bullied and treated in a negative way. The same is for being arrogant, because when you become arrogant, you bully people who have a low self-esteem, and you do that, so it's a cycle, and it's circling around. So either you can stay as a low self-esteem, come up to a healthy self-esteem where you feel proud about yourself, or exceed that limit and come to arrogance, which comes above it all, and then you come to the reverse end when you bully people with low self-esteem. So
Wonderful,
it
wonderful.
has
I
the same
love the
cause.
idea about it. You say that it's a cycle and we get stuck in that loop wherein one side we are so feeling lowly about ourselves because of low self-esteem, and the other the same uh, reason for arrogance is because of the complexes or of the low self-esteem that we have. It tries to,
Yeah, so there's going to be a certain point where you break out, and this pile of emotions that have been doing push-ups in the other room comes
Mhm.
out and explodes. So that's
Yeah, yeah, and that would explode on other people, wherein you will be belittling others
yeah, and
by your
harming others.
arrogance and making them feel low about themselves because of your own.
Your own fire to take revenge.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So, Ahmed, what do you think we can do to boost our self-esteem? What are the affirmations that we can, or what are the things that we can do to boost our self esteem?
First of all, you should block your ears
Okay.
and not take anything from outside, and just not take it in, and don't take any don't take any value from it, or don't believe it, shrug it off, and all the negative comments that other people are telling you. And the next thing is, to in order to boost your self-esteem, you have to do things that will feed your self-esteem. So do things that you know are that you know that you want, and that are gonna
Sometimes,
boost.
sometimes there are things that, like for example, failures in life that can lower your self-esteem. So how to handle that? Some, maybe you tried something and you failed, and there was a failed attempt, and you started, your inner critic started telling you you are not worthy or you are not good enough or things like that, and your self-esteem goes down. Then how to handle such situations wherein you are stuck?
So instead of having a closed or fixed mindset, you should have an open mindset.
Okay.
With a fixed mindset, if you get even one failure, you're gonna give up and stop right there. So what you have to do is keep an open mindset and keep an open brain. So when when obstacles come and hurdles come, you can overcome them slowly but surely. You can overcome them and move on
Mhm.
from those from the impact of those failures.
Mhm. So, which means that failure is part of the journey and you
Yeah,
cannot avoid that.
yeah.
So, wonderful, wonderful. And uh, other things, what other things can impact self esteem would be, um, yeah, bullying is one thing that you mentioned. So, how to handle bullies? Let's say if somebody is ridiculing you, like it's a constant exposure to negative comments or remarks and stuff, how can you stop yourself, stop that out of outside influence?
So, as I said earlier, you have to block your ears so
Mhm.
you do not take any of the information or any of the things that they're telling you. So, when once you do not take it away, and it's hard sometimes not to do that. So, when you cannot do that, you should try your best to keep away from those people and keep away from the people who are hurting you and lowering your self-esteem down. And if it gets out of hand, uh, just ask your parents
Mhm.
or ask help from other people so they can help you in getting
Yeah.
away from
So
this
healthy
positive
support system, which what I'm understanding from it is that a healthy support system is very important to distance yourself from that negative space. While the affirmation that we often discuss about, when your creator has told you that you are worthy, then there is no outside influence that can
yeah.
negate this fact that you are worthy. So that is the best way to boost your self-esteem, isn't that so?
Yeah,
Mhm.
because once you know that our creator has told us that you're worthy, uh, if you weren't worthy, you wouldn't come for a test. If you weren't worthy, you wouldn't come to Earth to live and experience and
Mhm.
uh, test yourself. Because, uh, as like for example, a job interview
Mhm.
or a position, you you have to be worthy to, in the first place, to go into that job interview or place. So yeah, that's why if
To be selected
yeah, to be
to
selected for
live
that,
on this planet to is itself
a
something
very
worthy
great
of.
achievement. Yeah.
Just like you are selected for a job interview, or if you're selected for a college degree or other things, if you are selected, it means you are worthy for it. So if you are selected for even a single breath on this planet, it means that you are worthy. And when the selector is not a human being, for example, in job interviews or for college degrees or for any other, they're the people who are selecting, and they have a very subjective reality. Sometimes that should not become a criteria for your worth. In fact, these kind of opportunities, even if you are not selected, it doesn't matter. But when your creator has selected you and you are living on this planet because of his selection, out of the possibilities of so many, so if you are here, it means you are worth, right? Wonderful, wonderful. I like that concept, Emma. Anything that you would like to add?
Mm, no, I think
Mhm.
I think we've covered most of the topics.
Okay, wonderful. The best thing about the discussion that I liked about was emotional intelligence. That is that is the key. You need to sense the situation and understand where you can, in what way you have to speak to people around, and in what way you have to carry yourself in a negative space, while not belittling yourself or undermining your abilities just to please other people. Thank you. That's all for today. Ahmed and me signing off from Soulfully Yours. Take care. Have a nice day.
Bye.